Hi guys, welcome back to another cutting and sewing tutorial. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful dress. This dress is divided into three parts: the half length, the skirt part, and the down part, which has the net. And it also has a detachable flare. This flare you are seeing on the waistline is detachable. You can either use it with the flare or without the flare. And this dress has a lacing at the back. I used some orange beads and some trimmings to beautify the dress. The white design you are seeing on the dress is the trimming I used. I know this is something you would like to know more about. Please keep on watching and let's get started. Shoulder to the chest line is 8 inches. Shoulder to the bust line is 10 inches. Shoulder to the under bust is 13 inches and shoulder to the waistline is 18 inches. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch allowance. For the measurement I'm working with, it is 7.5, and I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also mark it on the chest line, and I'll connect with a ruler. I am marking a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 3 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. I am coming down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slant, and I'll connect it back into the neckline. I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4 and I'll mark it on the chest line. I'll go up by 3 inches at that point and I'll come out by 0.75 inch, and I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. I am marking the waist measurements divided by 4 and I'll add 1.5 inches for that allowance, and I'll connect it with a straight line. Next, I'll go in with the bust span measurements divided by 2. I'll mark it on the waistline and also on the bust line, and I'll connect with a ruler. I added 1.5 inches for that allowance, so I'll go in by 0.75 on both sides of the dart leg on the waistline, and I'll connect with a straight line to the bust point. The difference between the front and the back half length is 2 inches, so on the bust line, I'll mark 2 inches and that will be for the bust dart, and I'll connect it to the bust point. To tighten the underbust, divide your round underbust measurement by 4. For the measurement I am working with, it is 7 inches, so I marked 3 inches first and I continued marking the 7 on the other side. So whatever allowance I have left there, I'll mark it on this other side here, and I'll connect with a straight line to the waistline, and I'll also connect with a curve to the bust point. This dress is an off-shoulder dress, so from the shoulder line, I'll come down by 5 inches, and that 5 inches line will serve as the off-shoulder line. You can decide to do 4.5, 5 or 6 depending on how you want it. So I'm connecting with a straight line, and this line will serve as the off-shoulder line. I'm writing the off-shoulder line so that we don't get it mixed up. I'll extend the nipple to nipple measurement to that line also. This off-shoulder line will serve as the new neckline, so I'll go ahead now and tighten the neckline with half-inch allowance on both sides, and I'll connect it to the bust point. To form the sweetheart neckline, I'm just going to connect with my curve. I'll place my curve like so. I'll connect it from the neckline to the chest line. I want the deepness to be on the chest line. And I'll just connect like this to the armhole, just the way I placed my curve, and I'm just going to connect it like so to the armhole. I am just trying to make sure that what I have there is not curvy at all, just a slight curve, not too curvy. That is what I'm doing here. And once I'm done with that, the next thing for me to do now is to cut it out. We are done with the front pattern. Shoulder to the chest line is 8 inches and shoulder to the waistline is 16 inches. The difference between the front and the back half length is 2 inches, and that is what we took in for the bust dart for the front pattern. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus half inch allowance, which is 7.5, and I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a ruler. Next, I'll go in with the neckline width and neckline depth. I'm using a neck depth of 1 inch and a neck width of 3 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, and I'll connect it back into the neckline. From the shoulder slant, I'll divide what I have left by 2, and I'll get the midpoint, and from that midpoint, I'll come out by 0.5. Next thing I'll do now is to mark the bust measurements divided by 4, and I'll mark it. I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4, and I'll add 1 inch allowance for that, and I'll connect with a straight line. The next thing I'll do now is to mark the bust span measurements. I'll mark it on the waistline and also mark it on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll mark half inch on both sides of the dart leg, and I'll come down by 1 inch there. That is where the dart will end, and I'll connect with a straight line. If you notice, there is no zip allowance on this pattern. That is because I'll be adding loops to the back of this dress. When you're adding loops to your dress, there is no need to add zip allowance to your pattern. I am just cutting out the excess I have there for the tightening I did at the center back. So now, just like we came down by 5 inches for the front of shoulder line, I'm also doing the same thing to the back. I came down by 5 inches and I connected with a straight line. That is the off shoulder line and also the new neckline. I will extend the bust span measurement to the new line also, and I'll connect with a straight line. Now I'll go out by 0.25 on both sides of that line, and I'll connect it to the waistline. Here I'm just replacing the dart intake I have there, and I will just redraw my armhole. This part, I am actually supposed to replace it on the chest line, not on the neckline. So if you are drafting yours, please replace it on the chest line, not on the neckline. I am cutting out here so that we know what we have for the back pattern. So this is what we have, and the next thing I want to do now is to take in some inches away from the back so that we can have our loop there. So now I'll mark 2 inches at the top and 1.5 inches at the bottom, and I'll connect with a straight line. I'm drawing zeros on that line so that we know that there's going to be loop at the back. I'll cut it out now, and after cutting, I'll close in the darts. I don't want a dart at the back. I'll just close it in, and the back will be a single piece. Yeah, I've closed the back dart, and this is what we have for both the front and the back pieces. The next thing for me to do now is to transfer to fabric. So yeah, I have the back pattern placed on the fabric. The fabric is on fold, and what I want to do now is to cut out the back pieces and also cut out the modesty panel I'll be attaching to the back. So I'm cutting out the modesty panel. So you can cut your modesty panel just the way I'm cutting mine. The width I have here for the modesty panel is about 6.5 inches. So I added 1.5 inches allowance to the side joining, and I added ½ inch the top and bottom of the pattern paper. Make sure to add all your allowances also. These are the front pieces, and I have marked out all my allowances on the fabric. I added ½ inch to the top and bottom, and for the side joining I added 1.5 inches. So I'll just cut it out now. I have cut out my lining for the front pieces, and I also went ahead to add interfacing and wording to the front pieces, and I added interfacing to the front lining also. So you can decide to add interfacing to yours or not. So I'll go ahead now and stitch the front pieces together. I'll join them together just the way I'm showing you, and I'll bring it back and show you what to do next. These are the 2 back pieces, and I also added interfacing to both the main fabric and also the lining. I'll go ahead and add loops to the center back on both pieces. After joining the front pieces, this is what it is looking like. I also went ahead to iron the seams flat, and this is what we have. I'll put this aside now, and I'll bring in the back. This is what we have for the back. If you don't know how to add loops to the back of your dress, I have a video on that on my channel. I'll put the link in the description box so that you can watch it if you don't know how to add loops to the back of your dress. So now I'll go ahead and place the modesty panel on one side of the back, and I'll go over to the sewing machine to run a stitch on it. I want to explain something to you here. For an off-shoulder dress, you need 2 important measurements. One is the round shoulder together with the arms. You need to take that measurement, and also you need to measure around the over bust from the front to the back. You need that 2 measurements. It is very important for an off-shoulder dress. These measurements will enable you to get the accurate measurements when you want to cut out your sleeve. For this dress, the sleeve is not tight on the arm. The sleeve is loose. To cut out your sleeves, you are going to deduct your round over bust measurement from the round shoulder with arms, and whatever you get, you are still going to add like 4 inches allowance, because the sleeve we are trying to achieve is not a tight fitted sleeve, it is a loose sleeve. But in case you want a fitted sleeve, you are just going to use the measurement that you got. I want to cut out my sleeve now. I'm just going to fold my fabric on bias. The weight I am trying to cut out is 14 inches. So because my fabric is on fold, I'm just going to mark 7 inches. The length for this sleeve is 3 inches, but I'll be marking out 4 inches because by the time I take in ½ inch at the top and at the bottom, I'll be left with 3 inches. I'll cut it out, and once I cut it out, I'll also use this one to cut out 3 more pieces because I'll be using the main fabric as the lining also. I have cut out the other 3 pieces. Now I have 4 pieces. I'll go ahead now and close the top and bottom of the fabric so that I'll be left with 3 inches. I'll use half-inch allowance to stitch both the top and the bottom, and I'll be left with 3 inches. I'll do the same thing to the second sleeve also, and I'll bring it back. I want to fix the sleeve to both the front and the back now, so I'm going to align my front and back pieces together like you see me doing now. I'm going to place it on each other like this, and I'm going to bring one of the sleeves and pin it to the front first, and I'll also pin it to the back. I'll pin it in a way that by the time I am done stitching, it will align properly on the body. I'll pin it to the front and the back like you see me doing, and I'll go over to the sewing machine and stitch. I am done stitching here, and this is what we have. So by the time you are done with yours, this is what you should also have. The next thing I'll do now is to place the lining on both the front and the back, and I'll go ahead and stitch around the neckline. For both the front and the back, I'll stitch around the neckline, and I'll do the same thing I'm doing to the front also to the back. I'll place the lining on it and stitch around the neckline, and I'll also close the center back. I'll fix my modesty panel on one side of the back, and I'll place the lining on it also and close the neckline and also the center back. You need to be patient with this part, because you have already fixed your sleeve, so it might be a little bit difficult for you to place the lining on it, but it is simple, trust me. So just place it like you see me doing, and you're just going to stitch the neckline and also close the center back. I am done with that now, and this is what we have. So this is what it is looking like now, and I went ahead to iron the neckline properly. You can add hemming gum to the neckline so that it stays nice and the lining is not coming out on the front part. So you can use hemming gum to iron the neckline so that it relaxes on the body. I have cut out my skirt part. So if you don't know how to cut out a skirt pattern, I'll put the link in the description box so that you can see how I cut this part out. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I have added lining to the skirt. What I want to do to the skirt now is to add zip to the skirt. The skirt part is going to have zip, so it's just the half length that has loop. Yeah, I marked out 10 inches. That is the length of the zip. I am just going to close the remaining part down there and I'll fix my zip. I am done fixing the zip now, and please make sure to leave a space of about ½ inch at the top of the skirt before you start fixing your zip. You are going to use that ½ inch to join into the upper parts. So now I'm just going to join the front part of the skirt to the front half length. And for the back, remember that when we were drafting the back half length, we removed 1.5 inches from the center back. So now on the skirt, you are going to leave a space of 1.5 inches at the center. Mark that 1.5 inches from the center, and from that point you mark, that is where you are going to place your back. Just watch what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing here. From that point you mark is where you are going to start stitching the half length of the back to the down part. So you're going to mark that 1.5 inches on both sides, and you're now going to place back half length on that 1.5 inches mark you made. So that means you are going to have a space of about 3 inches at the center back. This is what I have after I was done joining, and the next thing I'll do now is to join the sides together. I have cut out the rope for the lacing, and I'm just going to fix it in and lace the back before I now join the sides. I'll go ahead now and join the sides together. I added 1.5 inches and that is what I'm going to use to join the sides. Guys, I wasn't able to film the down part of this video. I thought my camera was working, but it was not. So if you want me to do another video to make up for the down part of this dress, please let me know in the comment section. Please like this video, share, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification bell so that you will get notified anytime I upload a new video. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.